Baiju Ravindran, hailing from northern Kerala, has any of these engineering graduate shifted to Bangalore searching for the job? So he could understand that anyway, I have completed my engineering graduation. So why should I search for a job? Why can't I start? So he just started the tuition, private tuition center, and named Baiju's classes. I still remember almost around 10 years back when I was there in Bangalore, I could see in different hoardings Baiju's classes. And we know the nature of Bangalore, especially education. So what happened? The schools were creating needs. Why can't we have tab-based, the content dumped in the tablets? I still remember in one of the school when I went for a training, they were asking, almost all our teachers are using Apple iPad. Can you train them how to make use of Apple iPad in a better way? At that time, I didn't even see an Apple iPad. But later I could understand that the school they has removed the entire iPad system itself. So slowly, Baiju Ravindran was trying anyway over the period of 2 or 3 years. They have prepared some content. Why can't I convert into maybe a web platform? From where he has just shifted to. Meanwhile, you may be knowing like Educom, who has coined a smart classroom concept, EduRide. There were lots of competitors. So K-12 industry is booming like anything. Even Reliance is into that. Jio will be coming. Apollo chain. There are lots of. Parallelly, you could see in Asim Premji University of Wipro, they have these kind of positions like content writer, content developer, content designer, content evaluator. So what I mean to say, there was a gap. There was a gap between the designer and the developer. The example was in the same firm where I was working, we had computer mediated material or teacher material and student material. Slowly we have shifted to an eclectic model where both the teachers as well as the students can use these kind of content. So what happened? The content writers were B.Ed graduates. They were writing about the clinical thermometer. A clinical thermometer marked almost 110 degrees Celsius. If it is being used to measure the temperature of a fluid which is boiling with a temperature beyond 110, maybe some 200 degrees Celsius, what is going to happen with the thermometer? And we know that they had discussed. Now the teacher cannot bring a thermometer and put it in a fluid which is boiling beyond 100 degrees Celsius. It may destroy the thermometer. So they have suggested, okay, why can't we have an animation? The content writers have written the thermometer when it is being used in a fluid who has got a boiling point greater than 110 degrees Celsius, the thermometer will break. This script has moved to the design team. They were working on Adobe Flash. We know that in Adobe Photoshop also, it works on different layers. So Adobe Flash is also working on layers. So the designer, he could understand, okay, the thermometer should break. Can anyone tell me where exactly the thermometer breaks? If you use a clinical thermometer, a mercury thermometer, which is marked 100 degrees Celsius, the maximum. If you use that thermometer to measure the temperature of a fluid, which is boiling more than 100 degrees Celsius, Where will it break? Is there any answer? It's simple. Any answer? Do you think that the thermometer will break? Anyone would like to give an answer? Sanchita Joshua says the thermometer won't break. Okay. Yes. At what temperature? Revaki says that yes, but I'm not sure at what temperature. Not sure. Okay, fine. Basically, if it has got a maximum temperature marked 110, that means the maximum temperature that you can measure is 110. Here, what is the case? You have a fluid, you have a liquid whose boiling point, which boils at a higher temperature, maybe let us take 200 degrees Celsius. So it is boiling, you are dipping the clinical thermometer into the boiling liquid. What is going to happen? One thing is very sure, the thermometer will break. Where will it break? That is the question. So what the designers have done, the designer, because we know that if there is a beaker and a liquid and there is a flame below to that, you can just imagine a picture having 2, 3 or 4 layers, and the thermometer is coming, getting dipped into the liquid, thermometer breaks. What the designer has done, the top of the thermometer, there is only one layer. So it's very easy to break there. Whereas if he has to break at the bottom where the mercury bulb is there, he has to work in 2 or 3 or 4 layers. So what he has done, everybody looks for the convenience. He has broken the thermometer at the top. Then it has been presented before the subject expert, senior teachers. The moment a physics teacher has seen, he is told it is entirely wrong. Thermometer won't break at the top. Thermometer will break at the mercury column, mercury bulb. Why? There will be enormous temperature where the mercury will not be able to expand upwards, so it will break. This is a simple case I'm giving before you, just to tell that the gap between a developer and a designer. In fact, we could learn that now we have to train the developer, designer such a way that they have to specify each and every point. Those who are knowing Adobe Flash may not be knowing physics. So this gap, I can say, even still is existing. If you explore some of these applications, some of these websites, you can understand that yes, the content is being misrepresented, misinterpreted. The data are misinterpreted. So what is in it for us? For us, it gives an idea that as teachers, as faculty members, if you want to use these kind of content, e-content for e-learning or e-content for the online teaching learning, it would be better if ourselves can prepare, design our content. We do design our content. How do we design? We either type in any typesetting software or in a word processor like Microsoft Word, LibreOffice Writer, or if I'm a mathematics teacher, I may be using LaTeX typesetting software, which can be presented using another open source software called Beamer. Or I may put it in a blog. If I'm a language teacher or science teacher, I may put it in a blog. I may put in PowerPoint presentation, or I may be using some concept mapping software. So what are we doing there? Either we may be rewriting from an existing textbook. In the last session, we have seen if we are taking these kind of copyrighted material, then there are issues. So slowly we get an idea that we ourselves as a teacher, not only there to disseminate, transmit the information, whatever is available, we need to play a role of a designer. One of my senior trainer was using a term called prosumer. What is prosumer? Prosumer is actually, we started as a consumer from the existing knowledge base. We use whatever is available from Google. Google Mata gives everything. So we started consuming a lot. Later on, we could understand that yes, in order to supplement, in order to complement whatever I'm getting from the internet, I also need to add something, modifying or adapting. That means we just started producing. We have not become a full-fledged producer. We are in the middle, both consumer as well as producer, called prosumer. Maybe in a later stage, we will become a producer. Some of us may not be so comfortable to make use of somebody else's content. Rather, I would be using my own content. So in this background, now the remaining time I'll be demonstrating. I'll explain what is authoring, and then I will demonstrate a free and open source software which each one of you can use in order to develop e-content. There is a suspense that I won't break now. So let me share a small presentation. Authoring tools. Hope you can see this screen.
No, sir, we're not able to see your, we cannot see your presentation. Now we can see.
Okay, fine. So the authoring tool, we know the term authoring. When you write the paper, you are the author. When you write a textbook, you are the author. So authoring tools are those tools which allows you to author the content. So basically, in a technology background, an authoring tool is a software program that enables user to create learning content, lessons, and courses using text, media, and interactions. There are some terms which are very key to us. That may be a difference between a word processor and an authoring tool. Authoring tool is a software program. Even our word processor is a software program. It's an application software that enables us to create the learning content, the content for the sake of learning. That means we can prepare it for our students. And even we can prepare the lessons and the courses, for example. Now you may be remembering Moodle, where you can create a course. But Moodle is not an authoring tool as such. Moodle is an LMS, learning management system, because Moodle can do a lot more than an authoring tool. So a software that helps you to prepare the content, lesson, courses, using text, media in terms of audio, video, animation, and interactions. When you use maybe a Word document, I have seen some of us present a Word file in the screen while taking the class in the online live sessions, or we present a PDF. Skodo is a popularly used applications, especially in mobile or in laptop or desktop, where you can annotate the PDF. You can write on the PDF. Or there are Kami kind of extensions that we can use in order to annotate the PDF. So mainly this content, we can use it in the LMS, which can be saved in various formats. So generally they are pre-programmed. You need not program. That is the advantage. That means as a teacher, I may not have a very great knowledge in some of the technology tools, like designing HTML pages or designing a web page. I may not be knowing. I don't know how many of you are good in creating HTMLs. So it's a pre-programmed one, which offers a ready-to-use interface. We know that when you want to design a blog, we can select some ready-made templates. Beautiful templates would be there. Depending upon the need, depending upon the nature of the blog, we can select whether it is formal or informal. So here also, any authoring tool gives you some ready-made templates or interface where you can integrate media, tools, interactions, tests. So that is the advantage of an authoring tool. Now, what are the different characteristics or options that we have? The first one is content authoring. Content authoring means you are able to write the content and present it before, or you can convert that into in any format, either HTML or PHP. Even you know that when you prepare a Word document, you can convert it into HTML. You might have checked. While you are saving as, it will ask save as type. Save as type, there may be different options. So content authoring is the major. Then the interactivity. Interactivity means you may have an image which can be clicked and dragged, or maybe for assessment, we may have a drag and drop activity or puzzle based activity. So it allows you to create interactive content. Then templates and themes. Most of these authoring tools are giving you the templates and themes which can be easily used. Then content management. Which content should be presented first? What should be the logic? What should be the sequencing of the content? Whether I need a video inside the content. When you look through some of these websites, you know that there may be text available. After that, there may be a video. Then allow the collaboration of the users. In a simple way, the comments that the user can give in a blog. Most of you may have a blog. You might have developed a blog. When you are developing a blog, when you are creating a new blog, you may look into the settings. Who can comment? Whether anyone anonymously can comment, or whether they need to open their Gmail if you are using an e-blogger or Blogspot. And if the comments are coming, whether the comments can directly be present into the blog, do the administrator or the author or the manager need to moderate it. Recently, we started using the term moderated, right? Like when you do a post in Facebook, in your Facebook page or in your Facebook news stream, anyone can comment, any of your friends can comment. You don't have a control over their comments. What you can do, you can see the comment and maybe you can hide it or you can delete it. But before becoming visible, you are not getting any intimation. Somebody is trying to put a comment. Whereas in blog, we will get an intimation that so and so is trying to comment. Would you like to publish it or moderate it? So those kind of moderation, management can be possible in an authoring book, and collaboration. Another is especially for an educational content. We know that in distance education earlier, for correspondence courses, the study materials itself has got some format. What is that format? The larger content would be divided into smaller pieces, and after certain section there will be a self-check, keeping the idea that this material would be used as a self-learning material. So as and when the learner completes certain portion, if they get an idea how much I have learned, that would be better. In education, we have called it as something called programmed learning. Programmed learning, the concept is simplify the content and present in small chunks. So assessment, either it is a self-assessment or it is a proctored assessment. The content authoring allows you for that. Then accessibility. Suppose I am using an authoring tool. How will you access it? That is a question. Like when I use a PowerPoint, I develop in my desktop. Either I have to use it in a presentation like this, or I have to send you in a mail, or put it in some platform, maybe in a Google Drive, and share the link. Then only you will be able to access. And if you want to access it, you need to have the same software in your system. Most of the time, our students used to make the complaint that, sir, this PowerPoint is not opening in my mobile. Then we suggest either you download Microsoft Office in your mobile. PDF may not open. There are accessibility issues. So any authoring tool allows you to create the content and make it accessible in different formats. And also it allows you to publish. Maybe these two can be connected. Once you publish, maybe in a domain, like in a blog, in a website, in your personal website. I don't know how many of you have a personal website, either Google site or maybe using WordPress. You might have developed a personal website. Now you just check that personal website. What is the architect? Whether it is based on HTML. If it is based on HTML, then any HTML coding can be embedded into that. I hope I am not using any jargons. Don't bother about that. Blog is basically a publishing facility. You can keep it private. You can keep it public. You can keep it unlisted in Google search, so that anyone who is searching for maybe your blog address or the content that you are labeling in a blog, they'll be able to access. So it's a self-publishing platforms, website or blog. So these content authoring tools are also allowing you to either export your content which is compatible with maybe any of the web platform. Then administration, you are getting the administrative role because you are the author. When you are sharing, maybe I have prepared a content for one unit. I just put it in a content authoring software. I published it. Then when my students started accessing it, they have given some feedback. They started give some feedback. This content is not accessible. This is not readable. This is not legible. Instead, asking for a designer, what can I do? I myself can make the changes. That is the advantage. So you get the administrative role and support and training. Even there are lots of tutorials based on this EXE, these authoring tools. There are lots of either video tutorials, trainings are available. Even we can train our students. So all these are some of these characteristics and capabilities of an authoring tool or authoring tool as a software. Now, before moving to the demonstration, let me take you to another very interesting and important area called standards. Because when, like last session, as I was mentioning, we are all now involving in the digital platform. So when you are involving in the digital platform, we need to bother about the digital footprint. Whatever marks we are creating. So if you are taking care of the digital footprint, we know that this is accessible by anyone across the globe. So in order to improve the acceptance by the global audience, it would be better to design and develop content which is based on certain standards. Like if you want to publish a paper in a global journal, there are certain restrictions, there are certain conditions. You have to follow that journal guidelines to prepare your article. Then they go for the peer review. Then they publish it. And even in the referencing, there will be different formats they may be suggesting. Some publishers, they ask the material to be typed in LaTeX, especially scientific journals. Some they may request only the Word document, Times New Roman, 12 points. So now we consider it as a standard. In a similar way, in e-learning or in online learning, or when you are developing an e-content, there are certain standards which is universally accepted. I'll give another example. Suppose you as a faculty member, you want to develop e-content that can be uploaded in the SWAYAM portal. UGC has given the guidelines, the framework to develop your e-content. SWAYAM follows 4-quadrant approach. Whatever you are developing, you have to put it into the 4 quadrants. This is a standard. So similarly, there are some universal standards, one of which is SCORM, S-C-O-R-M. It is an acronym for Shareable Content Object Reference Manual. Shareable Content Object Reference Model, SCORM. There is IMS, there is IEEE, AICC, there are different. Why I am putting it? The authoring tool that I am going to demonstrate will help you to convert your content into SCORM. Because when we use an authoring tool, our doubt may be, okay, I can use this authoring tool, I can type the content, I can organize the content, but will it be accepted by the global audience? Can I proclaim it as a content which is on par with the global standard? So SCORM is one of the standard, shareable content object reference model. Those who are using Moodle, those who are familiar with Moodle, you can see in Moodle there is an option called, in the activity, you have one activity called SCORM. In the resources, you might have seen IMS. Right. So without knowing any of the details, the authoring tools, some of the authoring tools allows you to convert your content, export your content to the universal standards or global standards. In SCORM, what are the advantages? The final score of the course can be traced. You can track the final score of the course, test and quiz results, specific answers given by students, which page are viewed and for how long. Just think of all these are connected with a web developer. Total time spent by a user in that particular page. Score per module or objective. If you are designing your e-content objective based, you can track the learner progress. You can check the overall status such as pass, fail, or complete or incomplete. Those who are using Moodle, they'll be feeling happy that yes, Moodle allows you in all things. And some other standards, as I told, AICC is an acronym for Aviation Industry Computer-Based Training Committee. XAPI is a standard that allows tracking, storing, and sharing of the learning experience of users across platform and in multiple contexts. So there are different standards. Whenever now onwards, if you are developing, if you are authoring the content, developing the content, please look into selecting those tools which helps you to convert your content into the global standards. Right. So right now I'll stop sharing. If there are any doubts or any questions, you may post it now. Then I will move to presenting and demonstrating an authoring tool. Any questions? Okay. Now let me share my entire screen. Yeah. Hope you are able to see my screen. Now the authoring tool, there are n number of tools available. One of my choice would be EXE Learning. EXE Learning is a free and open source editor to create educational resources. You can visit this particular website. I will put it in the chat box. You can download later, exelearning.net. And what you can do, you can download whichever variant you would like to have, either for the Linux or Microsoft Windows or Apple. Now even you can look for the features of EXE. The advantage is that this particular authoring tool allows you to convert your content into XHTML or HTML5 format, which allows you to create, easily navigate web pages, including text, images, interactive activities, image galleries, multimedia clips, etc., without knowing any of the HTML coding. Now, if you want to appreciate the scope of this particular software, I don't know how many of you have the habit of this. You just click on any part of the website. Then you can see there is an option called View Page Source. Click on that. You can see the HTML coding with which this particular page is being designed. Can you see this? If somebody is there who is well versed in HTML, they know that the HTML as a hypertext markup language, it follows a certain syntax. Like you have to define the document, then start the bracket. There are certain flagging and close the bracket. There are different syntax that you have to follow. It's not so easy, but anyone can learn it. But once you have this exe, I would say don't bother about all these. You just go ahead with enriching the content, adding the content. exe will take care of converting that into HTML. That is the unique feature of this exe. You can check the blog, you can check the forum. There are different options available in the website. So I'm not spending much time on this. Now let me show you. I hope you can see my screen. I have taken you to my desktop. In my desktop, can you see the desktop?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Now,
No, sir.
I am sharing, it is showing sharing the Windows desktop. I don't know what happened. Share. Now?
Yes, sir. We can see it now.
Okay, fine. Now, why I need it, just to show you once you install exe, how it will look like in your desktop. So it will be looking like, you can see here, hope you are able to see, exe 2.1. So once you install, there will be a desktop icon. Click on that. When you open the desktop icon, that will get opened. Now you can see this has got opened where it has not opened a specific window. It has got opened in a browser application. Please note it down. That means if you want to work with your exe file, exe learning software, you don't need any additional software. You need only a browser application in your desktop. What is a browser application? Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Opera, Microsoft Edge. There are different browsers that will get opened into the browser application. Now, once it got opened in the browser, this would be the window available for you. which is a menu driven. Hope you are able to see it. I'll just increase the size. You can see there is a file, tool, style, help at the top. Below to that, you can see add page, delete, rename. Below to that, you can see in the left side, outline. This is familiar to us. This outline section is familiar to us. Where is it familiar? Familiar in our Microsoft PowerPoint or Libre Impress. When you do with the slides, you can see in the left side, it will show you an outline. So you can see an outline. Below to that, you can see there are certain iDevices. iDevices are nothing but interactive devices. Right now, you can see there are 4 in this: interactive activities, non-interactive activities, non-textual information, textual information. So these are the 4 different options that EXE gives you to add different types of content. Fine. Then in the right side, you can see there is a home, and below to that, you can see licensed under Creative Commons Share Alike. Means this is a free and open source software which follows CC by SA. I hope you may be remembering that. Now in the right side, you can see there is an authoring tab and properties tab. So properties right now, you don't bother about it. Package, metadata, export, there are different. I'm not taking you to that kind of technology, technical details. We will focus more on authoring and maybe saving it and exporting it. Because within the stipulated time, that much only we'll be able to. And not only that, you will be able to see what I am doing. And if I ask any doubts, you will say that, sir, let us try ourselves, then only we will have certain doubts. When we start working, we will have doubts. When you start working, if you are having some doubts, what you can do, you can go to help. There are EXE tutorials, EXE website, EXE forum. These 3 can be searched, explored, and you can do it by yourself. Because this help menu is one least used menu in any software. Okay. Now, to begin with, now what are you going to do? I promise you, I'm taking you through a magic. Within 5 minutes, I'm going to create a website without using any HTML code. Are you ready? Without using any HTML coding, I'm going to prepare web page. So when I want to prepare a web page, what should I do first? I should decide about what should be my home page. This home stands for home page. This would be your home page. So I would like to rename it. Thank you, Ashwini and Vidyashree. I would like to change my home page name. So what should I do? Abracadabra. Listen, observe carefully on the screen. You come to the outline. There is a home. You double click on that. When you double click on that, you are getting an option that rename. Rename the home node. I can just rename it. So I am renaming it as Information Communication Technology. Click OK. See the magic? Your home has converted into information communication technology, which is your home page. Now, what should I decide? How many pages I need? I need to add some pages. What should I do? Below the menu bar, you can see there is an add page, delete, and rename. So basically, it gives an idea that you have to click on add page. Shall I click on add page? 1, 2, 3. I have clicked on the add page. Now you could see in the outline, the home page is information communication technology. Below to that, there is a page created which has titled topic. I would like to rename it. What should I do? Double click. Now I'll remove it as, rename it as information. So you got the logic. I'm creating a home page of information communication technology into which I would like to have 3 pages corresponding to information communication technology. So I have created 1 page. Now, can anyone tell me how will I add the second page? How will I add the second page? Once again, add page. Vidyasri says, once again, add page. Devaki says, add page. Sanchita says, add page. Now, Sanchita, Devaki, Vidyasri, be aware and beware. I'm clicking on add page. What happened? Are you happy? I can just underneath. Now what happened? Are you happy? I'm not happy. Why? I told yeah, that is a subsection. Thank you. So what should I do? Left top down. Vasanti, I have clicked on left top add page only. But what happened when I clicked on add page? I was in the page information. I'll repeat. A section is created. I will delete it. Now, this was the condition. When I was clicking on add page, this was the condition. Information. I was at information page. So the learning is wherever you are, if you click add page, a page will be added to that. So what was my requirement? My requirement was adding a page to information communication technology. So I should go back. Now I am at the information communication technology page. Click on add page. Now you can see a page has been added under information communication technology. Now I will rename it as communication. Now it is very clear. What is that? Go back to information communication technology, click on add page. The third page is created. Double click on that and type technology. So for the time being, I am restricting myself. There would be 4 pages, 4 web pages. One is the home page, information communication technology. Second page would be information. Third page would be communication. Fourth page would be technology. Okay. Now I am doing small styling. There is a style. I am just clicking on CMIST. Can you see this? The right side, there is some change happened. When you click on the style, When you click on the style, as I told, it gives different templates. So I'm clicking on the template slide and I'm getting this style. Now only one small drawback here. Whenever you complete certain sections, please save it. It's very, very keen in saving your work. So click on File, click on Save. Now you navigate in which place it needs to be saved. I'm saving it on desktop. I'm giving a name, trial, and you can see what is the type, in what type it will be saved. It will be saved as exe package file. By default, this will be saved as exe package file. Click save. So you can see the path. This is being saved. This most of the time we may forget to note it down. Later we will be searching, where is my trial, where is my trial. So take down this path, C users user desktop trial.elp. exe learning package, that is what ELP. And any file which has got the extension .elp, we can understand that that is an exe learning package file, which can be called as the source file. What is the meaning? If I share it with you, if you want to edit on that, you also need an exe in your system. You will get the entire codes of this package. You can change the codes and you can customize it. And that is why free and open source software is famous, popular. A proprietary software never share the source code with you, whereas a free and open source software always gives you the source code. You can work on the source code, you can customize it. Better example, those who are from library information science, they know there is a software called Koha, K-O-H-A, which most of the libraries nowadays using. So I save it. Now I told while beginning, I told I'm going to show you a magic. So let me show you a magic. What web page I have created. Click on tools. There is a preview. I'm clicking on the preview. You can see the web page which I have created. Information communication technology is the home page. Information is the next page. Communication is the next page. Technology is the next page. And you can see at the right top, there is a navigation button. You can move to previous. You can move to next. And let me click on the right mouse button. Go to the page source. This is the magic which I was doing. I was designing the page. Parallelly, I was working on this. You can see the HTML codes without any HTML knowledge. I could get this HTML coding. Who has done it? EXE has done it for you. And this is the strength of the software. Without any knowledge on HTML coding, we can easily create HTML pages. And that is the magic EXE is going to give you. Right. So you have seen the page. Now I will come back to the working document. Now what next I have to do? Say right now I have just given an outline. In the outline, I have created 4 pages. Now I need to add content to the pages. So I'm coming to the home page. And I told, how will you add the content to the pages? Using iDevices, interactive devices. There are 4 in this version. If you have 2.5, there may be less in number. Then what you can do, you can edit iDevices if you are using. That maybe I'll talk later. Now I'll go for, I would like to add some text in this space. Vijayashree asks, sir, as we edit the page, will it get automatically updated in what we have saved already? Yes. Edit the page means you are editing this working document. Whatever editing you are doing, it will not automatically save in this section. But in the web page, everything will come. I'll show it. Click on the textual information. You can see what are the different options it is giving. It gives free text, note, objectives, previous knowledge. Now you can see these objectives, previous knowledge, these 2 are basically used by teachers. I was telling you, pre-programmed. An authoring tool is a pre-programmed one. They have already programmed. So let me click on objectives. Now what can you see in the right side? It gives you a title and a word processing space. And this word processing space is familiar to us. How is this familiar? When you are composing a mail in Google, you get this. May not have these kind of tools, but there is a space. So I'm just typing, these pages are created to enable the users to familiarize the scope of authoring tool, explore different options of authoring tools, design an educational content using an authoring tool. So I'm just keeping 3 objectives. I'll select it. I can put the bullets. And once I have done it, you can see down there is a tick mark that shows you that yes, I have done it. Click on that. So this would be the design that you are getting in your page. Any educational content, when you are designing a lesson, when you are designing a course, better to start with objectives. What is the purpose of this particular content? So my objectives I have done. What is next? Since I am preparing it for you, I would say there are certain previous knowledge required. You can see there is a pre-knowledge. I am changing that. Prerequisites. I am writing in order to explore the different options of authoring tools, you may require basic word processing skills. I'm just putting that. Then maybe I'll say logical thinking and creativity. Again, I am selecting this, putting, maybe I'll put some numbers. Click OK. Now you can see two sections have been created. Two sections have been created. One is the objective, second is the prerequisite. So those who are from higher education, we know that when you design a content, basically we need to put the learning outcomes. So you can put the learning outcomes first, then prerequisite. Then what next? I will add some content in terms of text. So you can see there is an option called free text. Again, you will get the similar window. Now you may be asking a doubt. Sir, do I need to type everything here? I have certain content in my Word document. Can I use it? So I will show that I have some content here in Word. I have a module. So I'm just selecting this content. I'm just Control C, coming back to this Control V. You can see this means even if you have some content already, that is, you can select those content and put it here. You can change it bold. You can make it italics. Italics, okay, I don't need. You can select the font size. You can select the font family. Okay, and if you are interested in any specific color, you can select the color. Now I'm clicking the tick mark. Can you see this? Now what I have done, I have added some content. Now 3 sections have been created. Let me click on save. It is been saved. Now I'll just change this style. Let me look at the preview. Can you see this? So you have the home page. You can move to the next pages. So whatever you have created, the objective is there, prerequisite is there, and the content is there. Now somebody says that no, sir, this color is not appealing. So what can I do? Close it. Come back to this. You can see there is a pen symbol. Click on that. So you select this entire thing. Come to the font color. Now it will be looking nice. I'll go to preview. Yes. So I have created the first page. Any doubt here? Okay. Now, so I am in the first page now. Sir, since it is a first page, you give some images. So let us see how can we add image. Now the question is, would you like to add an image in any of this section or separately? I would prefer let there be some image in this section itself, in the third section. Click on this. So after this, below this, I would like to add an image. Now what can you see? In the first row there is nothing. In the second row you can see there is a tree diagram, an image of the tree. Click on that. If it says insert or edit image, you will get a window like this. Then you have to select the image from wherever it is. I don't know whether I have certain image. I'll go to desktop. I think here there may be some image. Yeah. What is ICT? I have an image. Open. Can you see this? It has got inserted. Now, what are the other options you have? You have an appearance option. Alignment. You can decide the alignment. I say text top. You can see the alignment sample here. Right? Then class. You can select any class. Style you can select. Then you have advanced option. If you have more images, on mouse over you can decide header and caption. So here I am giving what is ICT image title. I am saying ICT concept map. Author, this is not mine. So I say that Professor M.U. Piley. Then what is the license? He has put CC by SA. So I also put CC by SA. Click insert. Are you sure you want to continue? Okay. Now click on the tick mark. Now let us see the preview. I'll change the style. Click on the preview. See, information communication technology. So I have enriched my first page. So I'll save it. Now I'll move to the next page. So I have not added any of the content to the second page. Now I would like to add a video. Can I do that? I'll click on free text. Next to the insert or edit image, I will see insert or edit embedded media. Click on that. What are the video types that you can, what are the media types that you can insert? You can have OGV, OGG, WebM, MP4, MP3, FLV, all these types of videos can be embedded. So let me select a video. I think there is a video playback. Yeah, I have a small video of 7 MB. Click open. The video has come. Now source, header and caption, you can give it again. General. Now I'll make it very small, 160. Insert. Video has inserted. Click OK. Now you can see the video.
Let's talk about information. Do you know what information is? If I were to ask you to show me an example of information, what would you do? Maybe you would point at an article from today's newspaper. Perhaps you're.
Now let us see how it will look like. How it will look like in our page. I'll go to the style. I've changed the style. Go to preview. So the 3 pages are here. I'll go to the next page. They can access the video.
Let's talk about information. Do you know what information is?
Any question? How can we, yes, trimming the video is not there. You have to trim the video outside and put it. Sanchita, your video, insert or embed our YouTube videos, right? That is your question. So let me take a YouTube video. YouTube.com. Let me take types of information. Okay, types of information. I have a small video here. Suppose I would like to give this.
When you're trying to find information to use.
So I will take the link. Now I'll go to my page. I will add another free text here. So I will type the different types of information. Different types of information. Okay. Now either you can hyperlink this. You can see there is a small link, insert or edit link. Okay, click on that. Here I'm just giving the YouTube video link. Click insert. Now you can see the color has changed. Okay, below this you have a hyperlink. Now let us see how it will look like. We'll take another. I'll go to preview. Information communication technology, it is here. Go to information. This video is here. Then you click on this. That particular video, you can run that particular video. So you can give the hyperlink. What you do in a PowerPoint, similar.
Scholarly, professional, popular, and social.
And I can come back to my page. Is that fine, Sanchita? Anu, that is for the entire page. It is not, the template is for entire page, not for the only section. Templates are meant for the entire page. You might have seen it, na? See, this is for the third page. This is for the fourth page. Now If I go here, I change it. Right, now you can see, go to tools, go to preview. This is for the entire pages. This is the home page. This is the second page. The template will be for changing for all. Yeah. Thank you. Now I'll move to the next, communication. Now there are some other options. Now we have seen the textual information. Now let me go for interactive activities. What is interactive activities? You can see there, close activity, drop down activity, multi-choice activity, multi-select activity, Scrum quiz, true false questions. So I'll show two. One is multi-choice. So whichever you would like to select and put it part of your page, you click on that. So what you have got, multi-choice. Now I am changing this. I am saying self or check yourself. I can type a question. In ICT, C stands for. Now you can see down there is a hint. What is that? Hint is basically depending on the nature of your students, the level of your students, and the difficulty of the question. You may decide to give some hint. So here I am giving a hint. Expand, so that you will get the answer. Then I have to give the first option. I'll say community. Is this the correct answer? You can see the right side. There is a radio button. If this is a correct answer, you click on that so that the system understood this is the correct answer. Now, this is a wrong answer. So you would like to give a feedback. Sorry. Try once again. And another option. I will add communication. This is the correct answer. Click on the radio button. Give the feedback. Excellent. Add another option. I'll say commodity. Sorry. Try once again. So I'm just adding 3. Click done. What can you see? A separate section for the question has been created. Now here itself we can check. Click on this. When the student click on that community, sorry, try once again. That means it's a wrong answer. Commodity, sorry, try once again. Communication, excellent. Then they can move to next. Now let us see in our page how it will be. Review. This is the home page. This is the next page. This is the next page. You can see check yourself. Sorry, try once again. Excellent. So like this, if you need, you can keep on adding questions in different pages. Question number 1, question number 2, question number 3, or in a single page you can have. So in this way, you can create multiple choice items in this. This is what I told in the beginning. A content authoring system allows you for assessment. Now you may have a question. Any question? When I say assessment, you may have a question. I'm expecting a question from your side. Anybody has got any question? Thank you, Pinky. Sir, whether the score will be tracked. Now, right now, the version which I am using, the way which I am using, the scores cannot be added or score cannot be tracked because it is a standalone system. So how can you track, how can you capture the score if you have a server? If you have a server, then you can capture the score. So there is an tool called Xerte. I'll put it in the chat box. Xerte. Xerte, which is a server based. Those who are having Moodle in a server in any of your institute, in the same server, you can install Xerte. When you install Xerte, in Xerte assessment, the scores can be captured. In a standalone system, you cannot. It is just for self-learning. It is just for self-learning. Right now, I am working, preparing some material which can be used for self-learning. Another option is true or false. Again, true or false question. You can type an instruction. Please read the given statement and check whether it is true or false. Question. ICT stands for Information Communication Technology. Is it true? That is true. So what do you have to do? Click it true. Yeah. Click OK. Please read the given statement and check whether it is true or false. ICT stands for Information Communication Technology. Suppose I am clicking on false. Incorrect. True. Correct. So like this, you can keep on adding different assessment questions for the self-assessment. Now I'll move to the another page. I will click on non-interactive activities. For example, reading activity. And just I have to type what to read. So let me select some material. He's talking about communication, right? So let me take something on communication. Yeah. Click here. Okay. Click OK. So this is a reading activity. Now let us see how it looks like. Click on the preview. This is the page. This is the second page. Third page. Fourth page. Reflect on the meaning of communication and its characteristics. Either they can present or they can share you their work, maybe through mail, or you can give the details here itself. Then non-textual information. Suppose you would like to add an external website. Click on that. You can give the URL here. Suppose I have EXE learning features. I would like to add this. So select this. Coming this, paste this URL. Frame height means this external website will be directly added to your page. Click OK. Now you can see the external site is already made as a part of your content. Now let us see how it will look like. Click on the tool, preview. Vidya, I will come to your question. Yeah, prerequisite. This is looking very simple and elegant. You can see reading activity. Below that, you can see the EXE learning web page itself. Yes, Pinky, prior to adding the external info, we should check their copyright. You can add those pages which are under CC by SA. Okay, I'll come back. Similarly, you can add files. Suppose I am adding a file in communication. Click on file attachment. So I'll say reference. Show the description in the link. Please find a presentation for your reference. Then add the presentation. Suppose you have assistive technology. Okay. Upload. So competencies of physical science teachers has come. Now let us see how this will look like. Tools, review. This is in communication page. See, when I click on that, you can download that PPT. Save link as, or open in a new tab, open in a new window. Or if it is a PDF, you can directly add it. So let me add a PowerPoint. Sorry, instead of find a reading material. Add another attachment. Browse. So you have assessment in online education PDF. Open. Upload. Now let us see how it will look like. You can see the PDF. So you can share the reading materials also. Now, image gallery. Let me add this. If you want to add lots of images, maybe a chemistry teacher may have certain screenshots of physics teacher. So if you want to add image gallery, you can add. I'm not doing that. Better, I will show another one. Image magnifier. You can see an image. Now I'll say display 500 by 500. Then initial zoom, maximum zoom I am increasing to 200. Okay, now you can see. Can you see what is happening? Let me increase the size. Can you see what is happening? I can magnify the image. I can magnify the image. See. Now you can think of where exactly you can use it. Instead of this image, you can use, maybe you have a circuit diagram or maybe of microprocessor or very, very complicated circuit diagrams. You could post it and submit the image magnifier. They can magnify and they can look at. You can add a wiki article directly. Right. So like this, you can keep on adding resources as well as assessment materials. Now, Vidyasri was asking, sir, those without ELP can also view this website. Now, right now, what I have told you, whenever you are working on exe, you can save it as .elp. That means that becomes a source file. If anybody wants to access it, you need to have exe in your system. Now the question is, if I don't have exe, how will I access it? For that, come to file. Come to file, you can see there is an publish or export. In the export, you can see, you can export it as educational standard. This is why I have included the standard in my presentation. Common cartridge is a standard. SCORM 1.2, SCORM 2004, these are different standards. IMS content package is a standard. Now, those who have experience in Moodle, they know that when you want to add IMS or SCORM, they will be asking to upload a compressed file or a zip file. So I'll show you. When I click to SCORM 2004, what does it ask? It is asking, maybe I'll go to desktop. It is asking name for the folder. So trial SCORM. I give a folder name, save. Let me show you. It is saved in the desktop. You can see there is a zip file. Now this zip may be something new for you. Let me tell you, you may have WinZip or WinRAR. You may be using WinZip or WinRAR to zip and unzip. Both of them are not free. So I use 7-zip, which is free and open source. So when you have 7-zip, you will have a icon like this. So click on that. You can see there are lots of files which is being created by exe. Now either you can share this. You see, I have added a PPT. It is been included here. I have added a PDF. It is been included here. I have added a video. Where is it? Yeah, video. You can see here. I have added an image. It is here. Right? So either you can share this to students. And what you can ask the student to click on the index. Can you see there is an index? Click on that. Right? Now you may see, sir, this image is not coming. Fine. When you put it in, because this is a SCORM package, you have converted into a SCORM package that need to be supported by another software. So what you can do, easily you can convert it into, publish it into educational standard content, or you convert it into a website which is a single page. So I'm just clicking on that. Then trial website. I'm saving it in the desktop. It is saved. You can see there is a trial website folder. Right? Click on that. You have a folder again, trial. You can see again lots of files. Click on the index. Right, got it. That means if you want to share with the students, and when the students are accessing it, they cannot edit anything. They can just access it. So when if you want to share it to the students, what you can do, save it as a single web page. Save it as a single web page, compress it, put it in your Google Drive, share it with the students. To download that, they need internet. Once they download it, then they can access offline also. So that is the great advantage of this. And let me show you one beautiful website which is being developed using exe alone. This was a project from Commonwealth of Learning. All these entire things are being developed using exe, then later put it in the website. You can see. There is a video embedded. There is a self-check. All these are possible using exe.